Violence against women and girls is a global pandemic, and there are big gaps in resources to prevent it.
The extent to which there are resources for good research in low and middle income countries compared to high income countries, there's a big difference.
The World Bank and Sexual Violence Research Initiative supports researchers in low and middle income countries studying how to reduce violence.
Countries need to invest in evidence-based programming to prevent and respond to gender-based violence. And so we need countries to be able to have a broad menu of options.
The SVRI World Bank Award has funded 41 research teams over 4 years. Many are studying how to change norms and attitudes that condone violence against women and girls.
It is important to focus on gender norms if we are looking at a longer-term solution for gender-based violence, because gender norms are the ones which are at the root of the problem.
In Nepal, researchers worked to find out if trendsetters could shift community attitudes.
So in order to understand that better, as part of this project, we did social mapping. So we went to every household in the community that we were working in, and we asked them who they spoke to about certain issues. And then we mapped that out to understand how communication happens.
Community members led multiple activities to educate each other about gender-based violence.
The innovation is this ownership that the community had for the campaign and the intervention, where they took lead of the intervention, they organized their own activities, where they came up with a list of positive social norms that they wanted to use to replace the previous norms that they had.
With researcher support, the community launched a flag campaign.
हिंसा मुक्त वार्ड चिनाउनलाई हामीले चाहिँ एउटा झण्डा अभियान राखेका छौं। त्यसमा चाहिँ नि मेरो घरमा हिंसा मुक्त छ भनेर जसले भन्छ त्यसले चाहिँ नि त्यो झण्डा लगाएर राख्छ।
Eventually, the entire community declared itself violence-free, and researchers mapped changes in attitudes and behavior. Now they are working to apply the lessons elsewhere.
I believe it's totally scalable and replicable, and actually that's what we are also working on.
In rural Kenya, SVRI World Bank Award funding brought together a charity and research team.
Here at Yatapara village, women are underutilized by men. That women work is just to dig, you stay in your kitchen and you do whatever around your compound.
They are studying the potential effect gender transformative economic empowerment has on attitudes relating to gender roles and violence against women.
Although we work very closely with the whole family on the whole community, so it's men, women, girls and boys. For the women, they're often isolated, so they can't maybe leave home. They have very little power in decision making about their own lives, about their own bodies.
We found that a lot of women share with us these great outcomes that in terms of their participation at the household level, how that has changed their lives, how they are participating more and more in things related to decision-making processes in the household level.
One lesson, a need to focus more on households with very patriarchal norms to ensure violence reductions are spread across the whole community, including those people who have stronger gender unequal attitudes.
It's making sure that gender-based violence is not just addressed by those organisations that are specialists in gender-based violence, but actually that all organisations look at this issue and consider this issue within the context of their work.
And in the Solomon Islands, researchers are working in communities with deep-seated norms condoning violence.
We're not focusing on women's rights. It's more on doing a holistic approach of involving parents, men, women, even those elderly with disabilities, as well as the children, giving them the opportunities to have a voice.
With the goal of changing attitudes, the Safe Families program provides intensive training to facilitators to raise awareness and enable collective action.
Social norms take a long time to change, and so we sort of look at first establishing people's understandings, attitudes, beliefs, behaviours, and then as those start to shift, you see sort of long line shift in social norms.
Across the world, Development Marketplace findings are being shared with World Bank project teams and governments.
We have a limited evidence base that's given us some common building blocks of effective interventions. So now we want teams in low and middle income settings to take those building blocks and innovate in the way that they're being delivered in communities.
We want this work to make a difference to the lives of women and children in low and middle income countries in fragile settings. We want to end violence against women and we want to end violence against children.